Thinking in bets, Annie Duke. Good decisions don't guarantee good outcomes, and bad outcomes don't always come from bad decisions. This is the uncomfortable truth at the center of thinking in bets. Annie Duke, a former professional poker player and decision-making expert, challenges one of the biggest mistakes we make in life: judging decisions by how they turn out instead of how they were made. Life, like poker, is uncertain, and learning to think in probabilities, not certainties, is what separates clear thinkers from emotional ones. Why outcomes lie. Most people believe success means making the right choice. But what if there is no single right choice? In poker, you can make the best possible decision and still lose the hand. And you can make a terrible decision and still win, purely by luck. Life works the same way. A business fails, and we assume the decision was bad. A risky gamble pays off, and we call it genius. But outcomes are not reliable judges of decision quality. Clear thinkers ask a different question. Was this a good decision given what I knew at the time? The trap of resulting. Annie Duke calls this mistake resulting. Resulting happens when we judge decisions based solely on their outcomes instead of the reasoning behind them. It's comforting because it gives us a false sense of certainty. But it's dangerous because it stops learning. When we reward bad decisions that worked out, we repeat them. When we punish good decisions that failed, we avoid them in the future. Over time, this destroys judgment. Life is a series of bets. Every decision you make is a bet. Choosing a career, trusting someone, starting a relationship, investing time, money, or energy. None of these choices come with guarantees. Thinking in bets means accepting uncertainty and learning to manage it. You don't need to be right all the time. You need to be right more often than not. That's how long-term success is built. Probabilities, not certainties. Most people crave certainty, but the world doesn't work that way. Clear thinkers replace certainty with probability. Instead of saying, "This will work," they say, "There's a 70% chance this works." This small shift changes everything. It opens the door to flexibility, humility, learning, better forecasting. When you assign probabilities, you stop defending your ego and start improving your thinking. Why confidence can be dangerous. Confidence feels good, but overconfidence is one of the biggest enemies of clear thinking. The more certain we feel, the less likely we are to question ourselves. Annie Duke explains that confidence often comes from storytelling, not truth. We create clean narratives after events happen. I knew it would turn out this way. I had a feeling. It was obvious. But hindsight lies. Clear thinkers resist the urge to rewrite the past to protect their self-image. Beliefs are bets too. Every belief you hold is a bet about how the world works. And like bets, beliefs should be updated when new information arrives. But humans hate updating beliefs. Why? Because changing your mind feels like admitting you were wrong. Clear thinkers understand something powerful. Changing your mind is not weakness, it's intelligence. When the evidence changes, the bet should change too. Separating ego from decisions. One of the book's most important lessons is learning to detach ego from decisions. When your identity is tied to being right, learning becomes impossible. Poker players who survive long-term don't argue with cards. They adjust. Clear thinkers don't ask, "How do I prove I was right?" They ask, "What can I learn from this?" Thinking in groups, not echo chambers. Decision-making improves when you think with others, but only if the group is designed well. Most groups fail because they reward agreement, punish doubt, value confidence over accuracy. Annie Duke introduces the idea of a truth-seeking group, where disagreement is welcomed and uncertainty is normal. The goal isn't consensus. The goal is better thinking. The power of saying, "I'm not sure." Three of the most powerful words in decision-making are, "I don't know." They create space for curiosity, exploration, better questions. Clear thinkers are comfortable living without complete certainty. They don't rush to conclusions, they refine them. Long-term thinking beats short-term wins. Poker players don't measure success by one hand. They measure it over thousands. Clear thinking works the same way. One good decision doesn't make you wise. One bad outcome doesn't make you foolish. What matters is consistency. Good thinking compounds. How to think in bets in real life. Thinking in bets means accepting uncertainty, assigning probabilities, separating outcomes from decisions, updating beliefs when evidence changes, seeking truth, not validation, playing the long game. This mindset removes emotional chaos and replaces it with clarity. The real reward of clear thinking. The goal isn't to always win. The goal is to make decisions you can stand behind, even when outcomes are unfavorable. That's what integrity in thinking looks like. Over time, thinking in bets creates better judgment, a less regret, more resilience, calmer decision-making. Life doesn't reward certainty. It rewards adaptability. Those who learn to think in bets stop reacting emotionally and start acting intentionally. They don't fear being wrong. They fear not learning. And that's the difference between noise and wisdom. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Like if this message changed how you think about decisions. Comment, what decision are you uncertain about right now? Subscribe for weekly book wisdom. Share with someone who needs better decision-making today.